Keris Veil. Welcome back to Demo, the show where we demo the demos of the latest games coming to PC this year. Today we're taking a look at Keris Veil, a Metroidvania from Gallic Tales Studio that follows in the footsteps of the classic retro platforming games of old. The kingdom of Ventorum is being attacked by aberrations. Keris, a resolute knight, is determined to help. He is guided by a powerful witch named Celine. Keris must confront the forces in the shadows and think about what he believes. Let's find out how the game plays. Keris Veil is a very basic Metroidvania-inspired platformer. You run from left to right and open locked doors by killing enemies or pulling levers, avoiding spike traps, and managing health and mana pools. The concept is going for the basic action-adventure experience as it stands within this demo. At least what's being presented so far is not quite cooked all the way, sadly. The level design is lacking in any real sense of geography or importance, which is mainly due to the bare-bones asset design. There is not much in the way of visual storytelling yet in the environment, beyond the frankly well-done parallax backgrounds, which probably are the most expressive part of the pixel art in this demo. The art quality leaves a bit to be desired, but considering this is likely a very small team working on the project, it is not by any means the worst pixel art on the market. That being said, the visual component to Keris Veil still needs time in the oven and a layer of polish to help it translate its intentions a bit better. Unfortunately, there is no music to speak of in this demo. There is, however, music in the trailer, which would have at least helped to set the tone for the playthrough. What we are left with is instead an empty dungeon with no audio outside of the sound effects, which are also a bit understated. Let's take a look at how much music can make a difference in the player experience. Here is the playthrough without sound. And here is some gameplay with sound. Even a placeholder track would have helped to lift the demo. Instead, it feels a bit cold and lifeless without any songs to guide the journey. The sound effects are a little on the flat side. Sound design should never be undersold in its importance. As I've said, good sound design can make a bad game better, and bad sound design can make a great game worse. The jumps, sword swipes, fountain checkpoints, teleports, and enemy noises all leave a bit to be desired, though to the credit of the game, I wasn't particularly annoyed by any repeating noises, with exception for maybe the teleport, which is just sort of a strange gurgly noise. Hoping the devs can get a soundtrack on this game soon. I always speak about convention, and when it gets subverted, it's the first thing you notice. In almost every platformer since the dawn of time, spacebar or the X button equivalent is your jump key. That's just where the brain naturally goes now. Almost never is the jump button up or W on the WASD setup. Mapping the teleport button to the spacebar had me teleporting when I wanted to jump and forgetting how to teleport when I needed to. This conundrum happened on keyboard specifically, and thankfully the console controller mapping adhered to the expected standards. There are some small snags in the way combat feels as well. Enemy AI is on the simple end, while not terrible, the telegraphing is hard to predict and makes the parry system nearly impossible to master. These are small things, but when a game's main interactivity is combat, small things do add up. The mastery of the double jump and using teleport to avoid spike pits and oncoming attacks is really the only measurement of skill in this demo. It doesn't go much deeper than teleporting past a spike trap or double jumping over a spike trap. Again, level design and puzzle platforming are entire skill sets that are not easy. This game has the working idea in place, it just needs to shuffle the parts around a bit and add some spice to the mix. Sadly, I got so frustrated by the current demo level design and constantly dying to blocky jumping sections or clunky combat that I chose not to make it to the presumed final boss area. The thing is, with some work and refinement, I can see this title being a nice addition to the long list of Metroidvanias. Does it reinvent anything? No. But I still like to see the initiative, and I always believe the Metroidvania genre is the all-time classic video game style, so I never shy away from one more contender in the ring. Who knows if Keris Veil will do some work behind the curtain and hit release with a surprise for me. It's just a matter of iterating and refining until you have something really special to bring to the table. That said, Keris Veil isn't quite there yet. Keris Veil's strengths lie in its interesting setting, promising structure, and while not the best art style, still a decent offering for the demo. Its cons, however, lie in its clunky gameplay, with a lacking sound design, and a basic overall game loop that's a little too shallow for what it is. I would let this one take some time first. It doesn't have a release date yet, so we will have to wait and see how it turns out. If the trailer is anything to count on, there are at least 4 or 5 sections of the game that currently exist. Hopefully the devs have received some of this feedback from demo players and are taking things into consideration for the future. If they are able to get funding, perhaps they can hire a few new team members to help smooth some of the rough edges out and shape up into a truly satisfying game experience. Time will tell. To be fair, what's presented in the demo doesn't look nearly as promising as what's presented in the trailer, and it feels like Keris Veil just needs a second set of eyes to help it come together. Thanks for watching this episode of Demo. Leave a like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.